Hey guys, so today I wanted to try to do a short video on how to set up one of your self-hosted Halo Masternodes. This guide was really created by Tufik, and if you guys would like, you could leave him a tip or donation here at his Halo address. I mean, he would really appreciate it for all the work he went through. I think it would be a great thing to do because this is a very thorough guide. One of the first things you're going to do is go to the guide. I've put all the links in the video description down below. Um, the guide is pretty thorough, and if you start on page 2, one of your first steps is going to be going to Dream Compute, because that's who we're going to be using through DreamHost and signing up. And this is his referral link, so it kind of pays back as well. So you're going to follow that, and this will also be in the video, like I mentioned. And it's going to take you here to their main website. So one of the first things you're going to do is go to hosting, and you're going to go to cloud hosting. And after the page loads, you're going to go ahead and click Get Started with Dream Compute. Now it's going to load and wants you to create an account. And as per its instructions here, sign up and verify email. You'll have to insert your credit, debit card details, but you don't have to make a payment just yet. So just go ahead and get everything set up. And then once you're done, you're going to go ahead and log into the panel for DreamHost. And I'll put this link down at the bottom as well after you get to setting up your account and verifying everything. Um, so let's go to the panel here. And mine's already set up. After you go to the panel, you're going to go over here and you're going to click Cloud Services, Dream Compute. And mine's already set up here. I've been using this for, this account for a little while now. You're going to hit, I think down here it should say enable Dream Compute, and it's going to need you to enable your account. Once I did mine, whenever I enabled mine, it actually didn't allow me to create a password for some reason, so I had to actually use the reset my password link, and it'll give you a long password to go ahead and use. Um, so you might go ahead and do that. It takes probably 5 to 10 minutes for it to fully be enabled, so you might give it a while to catch up with itself. And once it is enabled, you can go ahead and log in. And once it logs in, this is kind of the screen you're going to see. So the first step, per the guide here, at this point, we've enabled Dream Compute. You're going to go to Project, Compute, and Instances to launch a new instance. So let's get rid of this. So down here, this is the way I generally do it. I just click Instances under Project here. You're going to click Launch Instance. You're going to give it a name. So I think on this one, I'm going to have Halo Tier 1 number 6. You don't have to change anything here. You're just going to leave it all the same in default. And then I think it automatically defaults to image. You want to make sure it's image if you're starting fresh. I've been booting up snapshots to make them quicker. But this should be the default screen, and you're just going to leave it on image. And then you're going to come over here and click No on Create New Volume. And then the next thing you're going to do is go down here and find Ubuntu 16.04. You're gonna click the up arrow and you're gonna put it up here because that's the one you want to use. Then you're gonna hit next and choose a flavor. Now you can choose the 1 GB one. It works just fine. Um, the 512 megabyte one actually works perfect as well, and it's much cheaper. And I think maybe later on at some point in time, once we see some more network usage and more transactions and stuff flowing through Halo, I think we will have to upgrade these. I'm not sure, but it is easy to upgrade on the fly, so it's no point in paying extra if you don't have to. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up as a 512 megabyte one. We're going to hit next. That's the network. So we're just going to go ahead and click key pair right here. And we're going to create a new key pair, is what you're wanting to do. And I'll just go ahead and create a new one for this. Let's see. Key pair test. You can name it whatever you want to name it. And it's going to download the PIM file down here. So once you're through that, you've got your PIM file downloaded. I'm going to tell it, you want to make sure I'm not sure if it's going to automatically be down here, but before you do anything else, you want to go ahead and make sure that the one you just created is up here, not down here under available. So I'm going to go ahead and send this one down, and we're going to go ahead and send this new one up. Or actually, I'm probably just going to use the one I've been using because I really don't feel like changing back and forth between these, but I'll still walk you through the next step. So, but you want to make sure that the one that you just created is up there. And then from there, you should be good to go. You can go ahead and hit launch instance, and it's going to take quite a while for it to launch. I believe it probably took maybe 5 to 10 minutes for it to be completely booted up. And it's going to say spawning over here. And what you can do in the meantime is you need to download Putty because that's the way you're going to be actually logging into it is through SSH. And I've got this link in the description as well. And for me, it's a 64-bit. So you're just going to go ahead and install the 64-bit here, or 32-bit, or actually, if you're using a different, if you're using Mac, I think actually they have a built-in structure for you to insert your PuTTY files, this PEM file actually. So that should be in the instructions. This is just a guide for Windows as far as I'm concerned. So once you get that done and PuTTY is installed, it should automatically come with a key generator. So PuTTY Gen. So you're going to launch PuTTY Gen. And what I would suggest to do is actually take the file that you just downloaded and put it somewhere, maybe on your desktop. And create a new folder. I'm going to name it test. Put it somewhere you're going to keep. All right, so I've actually got it in this test folder now. And what you're going to do is you're going to load the key generator up. You're going to load the file into the key generator here. So let's go through that. And then down here, you're going to click all files because it's not an actual normal PPK file. So you're going to hit open. It's going to import the foreign key, and you're going to hit save private key. You should want to save this key without a passphrase to protect it, yes. And then you need to save it to the same folder and just give it a name. So Halo Masternode test. And you only have to do this once if you want to, because you can use the same key to log into multiple Masternode, multiple of these VPSs here. So, and as you can see, it's saved back in the background now. And then once that's done, as you can see, this Masternode is actually, this VPS is actually done, this instance is done launching. So we can actually go ahead and PuTTY into it. So go ahead and load PuTTY. You're going to need two things. You're going to need that key pair, and you're going to need the IP address of the one you just created. I'm going to paste the IP in here, and then you're going to go over here to the SSH, and you're going to drop it down. You're going to go to auth, and you're going to browse to the folder where you saved that file at. And there it is right there. Mine uses a different one, so I'm just going to actually just use this different one here. And you're going to go back up here and go back to session. And make sure you have inputted the IP address from the new instance that you just created. So once it's there, you can actually, okay, so you're going to save it up here. You're going to give it a name first. And then you're going to hit save. And it's going to create it right here. It should be probably your first one, I'm guessing. And then from there, all you have to do is hit open. So if you don't see this screen pop up here, I don't think it's going to work for you. We've kind of run into this with another member's computer, and he had to start fresh. He might have somehow messed it up in the installation. I'm not 100% sure. But you want to go ahead and click yes here to cache it in the registry. And then now you're PuTTY'd in to that instance. So now you're just going to go ahead and log in. log in with Ubuntu. I'll scroll back up so you can see that. Log in as UBUNTU. And now you're at the main screen here. This is going to be your console. So at this point, you probably need to go ahead and launch Featherlight, the Featherlight client, or you could possibly use the Featherlight extension, the browser extension. I've always had the best success with Featherlight client. I'm sure that's going to change as soon as they get the API update done on the Masternode app. But Featherlight client always works best. And you're going to want to go to the Masternode app and load it, and you're going to want to create a new Masternode. So you're going to provision new, solely owned, private, give it a name. For this account, this will be the 6th one. Tier 1, self-hosted. It's going to give you a few things here. It's going to first ask you for the IP address, which you know, and you should have saved, but you can get it off of the instances page. And I would suggest starting a notepad and just keeping track of this stuff here, because you're going to get some data here from this while you're creating it. So you hit next, confirm, and it's going to give you this information here. I'm going to blur this out because I want this to be a good Masternode here. So we'll do contract address, reward address, and the private ping key. You need all three of these, and you need to save these right now. You need to back them up. Once you're through backing them up, click I have backed up the key, and you're going to get a couple of confirm screens. You need to make sure. So we've got the first confirm screen, 1, 2, 3. There should be 3. Okay. So now that we've got the ping key and the contract address and all that, you're going to want to go ahead and go back to your Halo Masternode guide created by 2 feet, and we're going to copy and paste some stuff here, and we're going to start on this page right here, set up self-hosted node using easy setup script, but we can skip down to number 4, because number 3 was pretty much, number 3 is a snapshot if you're using a snapshot. Number 1 was just SSH in. Number 2 is a simple step. We've already done all that. So we'll start with step 4. You're going to copy this. You can try typing it out, but more than likely the odds are you're going to type it wrong, and it's just quicker to copy it. And you're going to bring this back up, and all you have to do is right-click in your console screen, and it's going to paste it. Now, one thing I've noticed, I do believe that this W at the beginning should be lowercase, so we're just going to go ahead and change it. And then all you have to do is hit enter, and it should download the setup file. Once you're through downloading the setup file, you're going to give it the permissions that it needs to run. So we're going to copy it, and you're going to right click again and paste it. And then we just gave it the permissions to run. We can skip step 6. And to start the setup process, you're going to run, if an instance is created from scratch, we can run this one because we're downloading it from scratch. So we're going to bring it back up. You're going to right click again, and it's going to start the download process. It's going to ask you for the Masternode contract address first. So let's go back, let's get our contract address. This is why it's good to save this stuff. You're going to right click, confirm it, hit yes, or hit enter, and a reward address. Right click, enter. Ping key, copy it, go back over here, right click, confirm that it's correct, hit enter. The public IP address, you still need that. Let's copy the IP address. You're going to go back to it. You're going to right click. You're going to hit enter. You got to pay attention here. It's going to ask for case sensitive that you type in yes. So we type in yes, all caps, hit enter. Now it's downloading the chain. So it's updating to the chain. These VPSs are very quick internet. They usually should not take very long. I don't know why this one's taking 34 minutes. The last one took 15. But after you set up this first one and it's constantly updated, it doesn't matter. You can just do a snapshot and set up your next VPS, your next Masternode extremely quickly. And once this gets through, I'll come back to this. I'm just going to go ahead and let this download, and we'll come back to it. All right, guys. So it's finished downloading, and it looks like the setup is complete. And what it's going to say up here at the top is going to say setup is complete. It's going to give you a list of all these useful commands, and your first self-hosted Halo Masternode should be done and should be running. And a good way to check, you can use some of these commands that are given here in the guide. You can check to see if Glow is running. You can use screen-x. You got to be careful though what you're clicking. So you can use screen-x, space -x, enter, and it's going to give you hopefully a green screen of recent parts of the chain that is brought in. So it's importing new chain segments. So this means it's working correctly. But like I said, you've got to be very careful in this screen. You do not want to stop this process. So the only way to get out of the screen, and you need to get out of the screen, you cannot use the X up here. It's going to close out the session, not like it should. So you're going to hit Control A, and then you're going to hit Control D. And it keeps the session running in the background. And you can check to see if it's still running by using this command, screen-list. And there it is, below, detached, but still running. And then to log out, just hit Control D, and you're done. That's your first one. If you want to stay, continue watching, I'll show you how to create an instant snapshot and create a second one much quicker than that. All right, so let's go ahead and create a snapshot of the one that we just created. And if you want to create a separate Masternode, different tier, it doesn't matter. You can choose whatever tier it is when you're setting up the Masternode in Featherlight. But all you have to do is, make sure you're creating a snapshot from a recent Masternode VPS that is completely updated on the chain. And all you have to do is log into your dashboard again on DreamHost and go over here and click Create Snapshot. It's going to ask you for a name, a snapshot name. This is just the name of the snapshot. It's not going to be the name of the instance. So usually what I do, because if you create the snapshot and don't use it within 6 hours, it's probably not going to be very good because it's not going to have the newest, most up-to-date chain segments. So we'll just say Halo template, and I used one from the 21st. We'll do 323. And I would not use this after 6 hours. That's just something I would suggest. Create snapshot, and it's going to work on creating that snapshot here in our images. Should be down here. It'll be queued. I'll come back once it's through, and we can kind of go from there. All right, guys. So it looks like the template is done creating the snapshot. So we're going to go back to the instances screen. And we're going to launch a new instance. We're going to give it a new name. This is where you name it. So next. And instead of image, you're actually going to click instant snapshot. You're going to click no and create new volume. And down here, you'll find your most recent snapshots. So we're going to, this is the most recent one I just created. So you're going to click the up arrow and send it up. Ignore that. It's from my screen. You're going to hit next. You're going to choose your flavor again. Again, I'm going to choose the 512 megabyte. I'm going to send it up. Network, we'll do as default. The key pair. So I'm going to use the one I always use. Your first one that you created should still be there. And you can just hit launch instance after that. and it might take a few minutes to launch, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it there, and we'll come back. So now that it's done being created here, we're going to go ahead and get the IP address of it. You're going to go back to PuTTY, and there's a quick way to do this. If you want to use the same key pair, you can launch your first one that you stored. It should be the only one. There might be multiples by now, but I just load it, and it automatically loads that key pair down here in the SSH folder. So you don't have to do that again. You don't have to navigate to it. It should be saved in there. All you've got to change is the IP address, and then you're going to change the name to something different, and then you're going to hit save. So now you've got a new one in the list, and now all you have to do is open it. So we're going to click open. It should ask you, do you want to cache this host key in the registry? You're going to hit yes. And you're going to log in using Ubuntu. Enter. And you're logged in. So now that we're logged in, the first thing we probably need to do is go ahead and stop Glow, because it needs to be stopped for this process to run. So you're going to do screen-x because it auto starts. So this is using the same Glow as the instance that you used to boot it up with. So Glow is still running, and you just need to hit Control-C, and it's going to stop it. Now you need to just let it sit here and stop. It might take a while, so now that one went fast. Sometimes it'll take a while. You just need to hit Control-C once, let it sit there and do its thing. I'm going to kill this page here and just go to a website. And once it's done its thing, the first thing you want to do, these are easy to set up. They're very quick. I'm going to put all the information that you need to copy paste down in the video description down below. All you have to do is create this file, this text file on the VPS. So nano, and then you're going to give it the name rebuild.sh. So nano space rebuild.sh. You're going to hit enter. And you're going to paste this information that I'm going to give you in the description into this file. And you're going to just right click, and it's going to paste it, and it's going to stop after number 7, run setup without full $-setup and halo-sh-setup. You're going to hit Control-X, and it's going to ask if you want to save it. You're going to hit Y, and it's going to ask you file name to write, rebuild.sh. You're going to hit enter for save to rebuild.sh, and it's saved. Now you need to give it the permissions it needs to run, so we're going to run this command to give it the permissions, and it's actually going to run it. It's downloading the file, and guess what? It's asking you for your new Masternode contract address. So let's go ahead and set that up real quick. I'm not going to go through that process again to save time on the video. I will paste it in here, but I'll blur it out. So I'm going to pause it, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. So I went through Featherlight. I've created the new Masternode contract. It's going to ask you for your contact address. So all you got to do is copy it, right-click, hit enter. It's going to ask you for the reward address. And this is probably going to be blurred out. I'm not sure how the blurring is going to work. So I'm just kind of reading it to you. It's going to ask you for your private ping key. Right click, you're going to hit enter. And it's going to ask for the public IP address again, just like the last one. And then kind of what happened was when you ran that text file, it was actually a script that deleted everything out of a certain folder, and then it moved everything back into it. And it's using the same chain segment from the previous instance that you booted from. So that's the reason you don't have to sit there and wait for it to download the new chain segment. It'll just update really quickly. It doesn't take long. There's likely not many, off. The more you create, as soon as you create the instant snapshot, the more masternodes that you create and get wiped out, get started on, the better. The shorter it's going to take. And then we're going to type yes in all caps, and it's going to start glow in the background. And it should be done. Again, you can check to make sure it's running with green -list, and glow is running in the background. Control D, signs out. If you ever get into the screen-X screen and you don't know what to do to get out of it, you can check the Halo Masternode guide. It's down here in bright letters. Do not use Control+C while you're in that screen. It's going to stop it. If you do, you need to get with someone from the team or Tufik on getting glow running again. It's not that difficult. You just need someone to maybe help you start it back up. You're going to use Control+A and then Control+D. So Control+A, Control+D. And that should be it. You should have you can move on and just reproduce masternodes as you go from there. If you have any questions, you can hit me up in Discord. Username is Jesse, and thanks for watching.